talk to two former student athletes who had great success in their sport and actual sports, translated that one to the professional level in athletics, the other took a little bit of a different turn using athletics, but in Hollywood. Yep, Chris Reed, current guard for the Indianapolis Colts, played football at Minnesota State and track and field, Hall of Famer in track and field. And Luci Romberg, she was a soccer player at Texas Women's University. She now is a Hollywood stunt person, actually done some stunts for a couple of famous actresses that I'm sure everyone has heard of. So let's get to our conversations, both with Chris and Luci, and talk about that experience at the Division II level and how they're able to benefit from that and take it to the next level in sports and in movies. And now joining me, Chris Reed. He's a guard for the Indianapolis Colts and a graduate of Minnesota State, finished in 2014, among many accolades. Chris, let's go back to that time and being on a Division II football team. And, obviously so much of the fanfare is about the high profile D1, but you are one of many examples of going D2 and making it to the NFL. What do you remember most about the Division II experience?
There's a lot to remember about playing in D2. I originally wasn't even going to go to D2. I was going to go to a NAIA school. And when Minnesota State came along and offered a higher level of competition in both of track and field and football, I had to take it because I wanted to compete at a high level. And that's what allowed me to do. And just playing and being around guys that have the same mindset and just work hard and just really play for the love of the game was really something I remember about being around football and track at Minnesota State.
Yeah, I mean, so much, to me, regardless of division, being a student athlete, it's the time, it's the passion, it's the work ethic. When you got on campus there, what did you realize immediately about what you had to put in to ensure that you would maximize your ability?
I think that first semester, I actually, I didn't do as well as I wanted. I didn't do as well in school and in my athletics, and that really showed me what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be. And after that, we had the resources to do it, and I just had to take advantage and put my mind to it, and that's what I started to do. And after I started doing that stuff, good things just kept happening. And we went undefeated for 4 seasons in a row in football. I was very successful in my track and field career, and it was all because I realized what I wanted, and I made the decisions to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I mean, you remember of the Division II track and field Hall of Fame. How did you balance? I know they're different seasons, but how did you balance being a Division II college football player and obviously a high level Hall of Fame track and field athlete in the shot put and the weight throw and the hammer throw in the spring?
It was difficult. At first, at freshman year, I had to do a lot. I had to do football and spring ball for the most part. And so that first year was really, really tough, just balancing school and athletics. And then as soon as I started, doing well, the coaches were amazing. And the football coaches really kind of let me do track and field as I started getting better and better in track. And really it's just balancing. I had my football season I trained for, and as soon as that was done, it immediately right into track. And that's just kind of how I did it. I did my classes around my practice schedule, and then at night it was homework. And it was tough, but it definitely got me to where I am today.
Yeah, to that point, you've already played for you were actually undrafted free agent, signed by Jacksonville, Miami, Carolina, and now the Colts. How much did that experience of going this path to Minnesota State, put that hunger in you to be an NFL player and know that you had to, clearly, sort of prove yourself a little bit more than maybe those that were higher profile on those rosters?
Initially going into Minnesota State, I didn't really think of myself as an NFL player. I just wanted to be a really good college athlete. That was kind of my goal going in. And it wasn't until my sophomore, junior year, I can't exactly remember when they suggested that I could possibly be in the NFL. And after that, I kind of decided, I mean, I have nothing to lose. You might as well go for it. And I think just the balancing and the work ethic it takes to do, track and field, school, football, that balancing actually really kind of helped me be disciplined in college, and just have the right mindset going into the NFL as well. I think all of those things kind of contributed to having success.
When high school student athletes are thinking about, I think I want to play Division II, or maybe that's their level when they come out of high school. What would be your advice to them if they choose that path to maximize that experience?
I would say, what you put in is what you get out. I mean, it's kind of the basic. You don't need to go D1 to be an NFL player. I mean, I'm proof of that. There's many other players that are proof of that. And even at other sports, you don't have to go D1, but what you put in is what you get out. So, I mean, how you work is gonna kind of decide where you're going to go in life. And D2 allows you to do that. D2 really gives you the opportunity to go in and work as hard as you want to, and you'll succeed you'll succeed your goals, basically, if you work as hard as you want to in D2.
I mean, look, you're from Nebraska, so you know the power of the major Division I state school. So what was the reaction when, you were leaving the state and you were going to go to Minnesota State?
It wasn't a big reaction. I had a interesting high school experience. I moved halfway through high school from a small town in Iowa to Nebraska. So I finished my last 2 years in Omaha. And so I didn't have a extreme attachment to the state. My family lives there, so of course I have some attachment. And I was offered a walk-on for track and field and football at Nebraska, but I couldn't do both. And coming out of high school, I wanted to do both. I didn't want to give one up. And that's kind of the beauty of D2, is it allows you to do that. It allows you to play what you want to play and do what you want to do. And so going up there was a couple other guys from Nebraska going up there as well. Josh Meeker, Max Hoffmeister, Gary Hyatt were all coming up, and we're all offensive linemen. So that kind of helped too, because I had played against them a decent amount the last 2 years of my high school career. So I think it was just cool because it was a new experience, and it was getting away, just going to college in a different state. And it was just a really enjoyable 5 years.
And lastly, Chris, I think, like you said, you are proof of this. We're in a new era where it doesn't matter where you play. Everything is accessible through video, through not just word of mouth, but I mean, you're going to play, someone's going to notice you at the higher level if you want to attain that. What have you found in the NFL about peers like yourself that have played Division II that maybe had to work a little bit harder, but the opportunities still exist if you put that work in?
Yeah, I mean, I think of like Kenny Moore, right? He's a D athlete. He went to Valdosta, and now he's a Pro Bowler and one of the best, players in the league. And it really just shows, that you can look at anybody in the NFL, and any D2 athlete in the NFL, and you can see they all have that one thing in common, that work ethic, and that mindset. And I honestly think it came from development in college, because you have to exceed in D2 in order to get in the NFL and be noticed. And you have to have that work ethic and just that drive. And I think that develops as you go through D2, because it's not the easy road.
Well, Chris, I appreciate your time. Wish you nothing but continued success in the NFL.
Well, thank you very much.
And now joining me, Luci Romberg. She is a former student athlete at Texas Women's University, finished in 2004, played soccer, Division II twice. She played on 2 D2 gymnastic teams, and now, well, she's in Hollywood, and she is performing as a stunt woman in movies, and I'm sure we have seen you before in some form or fashion, subbing for Melissa McCarthy, Drew Barrymore. I'm sure there are others. But let's first date back to your college experience. In the world that you live in now, how much did being a student athlete help you?
Being a student athlete was like pivotal in my journey. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without, the teammates and the bonding and the experiences, and we just learned so much of, how to time management and just balancing all these things. And yeah, it's invaluable to my life being a student athlete for sure.
And so I look at some of the combinations, and it's interesting, we've had a couple of Olympians on recently, softball to bobsled and cross country to the biathlon. And it's actually taking what you did, academically, kinesiology, so let's study obviously the body, and then gymnastics, and the fact that you played soccer. So I mean, these are sports that you got to be able to run, you got to be physical, you got to be flexible, and all these things, I would think, I'm not in your world, help in the stunt world. How so?
Absolutely. I mean, mental toughness, goes a long way too. But, like any job, mostly in the real world, it requires teamwork. And so for me, just learning how to be a part of a team, how to contribute the best way that I can. I mean, I don't know, it was just such a fun, amazing experience. And then I was able to parlay that into being a professional stunt woman, and, getting to travel all over the world and work on all these different film and TV shows. So it's been a really amazing journey. And, just trying to stay in shape. It's important for my body to be strong, because the weaker you are, the more time you fall down, the more likely you are to get injured. And so, just being consistent and time management, like I said, and there's so many things go into being able to be parlayed that, those athletics into a career, because a lot of people don't get to do that. I was fortunate enough to find stunt work and be able to adapt my gymnastics and soccer experience into learning how to fight, how to fall, how to, fall downstairs, get lit on fire, all these things that, requires not only mental toughness, but also, physical toughness as well.
Well, look, we know in the real soccer world, there is some acting, in terms of flopping down. So
well, women less than men, let's be honest.
That's true. Very much. That is very much true. The men do a lot more than women. But seriously, even within that world of soccer, how much does that play into the stunt world?
I mean, as a stunt person, it took me a while for some reason to learn that I am an actor. Like, we have to, especially when you're doubling someone, you have to embody that character. Like, let's say Melissa McCarthy is playing a superhero. I'm going to perform a lot different than when she's playing, a 45-year-old mother, that's dealing with mental illness or something, you know what I mean? So it's important for us to be able to embody that character. And we are actors, we are action actors. So it's come a long way.
So also, I love the fact that, look, it's human nature. We get caught up in Division I, high profile, a lot of it is televised. And, Division II clearly produces exceptional athletes as well as exceptional professionals. What was it about your Division II experience that, you felt was rewarding and clearly has benefited you?
It was cool for me because in high school, I wasn't only dedicated to gymnastics. I did soccer, I did tennis, I did diving, I did softball, I did all these different athletics. So my time in the gym was a lot more limited than my teammates. So, I was only offered a scholarship for Division II. Having said that, I don't know, I had such a great experience and I learned so much. It's still we are still thriving to win. It doesn't matter Division I, Division II, we still want to be on top. We're doing this, as a team together, all the sweat, all the blood, all the tears, we are in it together and as in the goal of being on top. So like I said, for me, it didn't matter that I would have rather been on the top of Division II than on the bottom of Division I. And for me, that was the reality. So I was really happy with my decision.
And so let's go back to Texas Women's University. What do you remember most about that experience of also balancing kinesiology and your sports?
Yeah, being an athlete, it just helps you so much with time management and not procrastinating. I feel like I'm naturally a procrastinator, but when you're doing one sport, not necessarily two, you have to be so specific. Like every moment you have of downtime, you got to be studying, you got to be working hard. And, I just remember like all the miles that we would have to get up at like 6 a.m. to run together, and, all the training, all the 2-a-days, just all the in-between moments, like are really what kind of stands out to me. And, just being on the top of that podium at the end of the year is just, all of that was worth it. Like there's times you're like, why am I doing this? This is so hard. But at the end of the day, like every single effort was worth it.
So you've been a great advocate for combating bullying, as well as advocating for how you treat yourself. And I know you've done a video in terms of, any kind of negative visions of image. You're obviously a strong person. You play strong characters. How have the two, how have you been able to do what you've done professionally and help others combat those negative stereotypes or negative, feelings about themselves?
Well, I think that everybody struggles with something, whether, like everyone on social media is like, my life is perfect. But, in reality, like no matter how perfect your life is, you still struggle with things. So, I just wanted to put it out there that like, hey, like I struggle too. And, it's taken me a long time to like learn more about myself and be comfortable with myself and love myself for who I am, and just be comfortable in my own body. So, I made this video called True Beauty. So I really wanted to highlight like, hey guys, like find something that you are so passionate about. And for me, that was free running and parkour. And I just fell in love with it so much. And I was like, oh, like this is what I was meant to do. So I just wanted to encourage people to like find their free running, find their passion, and that, really helps build confidence and just, I don't know, for me, a happier, better life.
All right. So I got to go back to one quick thing in the Hollywood world. What's the toughest stunt, or most challenging, I should say, that you've had to do?
The two different, so hard, like the scariest stunt I've ever done is getting hit by a car at 20 miles an hour. So, you do it once and I land and I'm like, oh my God, I'm okay. I'm alive. This is great. And then I look up and I see the stunt coordinator walking towards me. I'm like, great. Like you could just tell in his face I was going to have to do it again. You're like, oh, great. Okay. So then get blasted again. So that was the scariest. Like that one, I called my family and my friends. I was like, hey, I love you guys. I don't know how this is going to go. But, having said that, in the stunt world, we make everything as safe as possible. So we're, safety is number one. The most exciting stunt I've done is probably hanging from a helicopter skid pad on the movie Spy. The bad guy was like trying to, get Melissa to fall off of it. So just a feeling of weightlessness, and like I'll never be able to feel that feeling again. So that was incredible.
Well, first of all, you've had an amazing run so far. I know it'll continue. What is your parting advice, especially for those student athletes in the D2 world, about what can be out there for them?
I think just work hard. You know what I mean? Like just believe in yourself, believe in your teammates, work hard, never give up. Like I truly, life isn't easy. Like you being a stunt woman in Hollywood, it was such a hard struggle. Like there was so many times I was turned down and I wanted to give up. But like, if you have a goal, if you have something that you're passionate about, like honestly, just never give up and keep grinding, and eventually you'll get there. Maybe it won't be today or tomorrow, but eventually you will get there if you never give up.
Well, Luci, we appreciate it. And your time. Obviously, you've had a great run so far, and I think certainly more to continue. Thanks for taking some time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me.
And that'll wrap up this edition of our NCAA social series. As always, we appreciate you watching, all your engagement. You can go to ncaa.org/social series, where all our social series are archived. Thanks for watching, everyone.